This is a Memorial Day practice. And what I usually do if I'm teaching in person is I roll out an empty mat and I invite folks to honor and dedicate this practice to someone important in your life who is not able to practice next to you anymore. So, someone that has moved on, transitioned, but has left a big mark in your heart and in your life. So, if you care to join me in that, let's just take a moment of intention and dedicate this practice to someone that we'd like to honor with this sacred hour called yoga. And if you'd like, you're welcome to put their name in the chat so that we can all celebrate this person with you. And you don't have to, but that's just an invitation if you'd like to dedicate and commemorate a person. So I'm dedicating this practice to my dad. This is Dennis, my namesake. That's where I got my name. And in his honor, I think the thing that he taught me more than anything else was to appreciate the small things, to have a reverence and an honor, a respect for the little details of life, the simple things. And so, with that in mind, I invite us to practice today with attention to some small details: our breath, parts of the body, nuances that we might not always see. So, as we start here in this seated posture with this intention of dedicating the practice to someone dear to us, let's bring one hand to our heart and one hand to our belly. And see if you can feel your breath in both hands equally, belly and chest. I'll be sharing some quotes today from the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of the few yoga books that I got my dad to read. And this book is all about living your dharma, living your truth, standing in your own footprints and singing the song that you were sent here to sing. As we reflect on those we honor today, we can acknowledge their song, their message, their dharma. And that inspires us to live into our own. As you deepen these breaths, feel the space between breaths. The inhale is a drawing in, filling up, and then there's this pause in the fullness. And the exhale is an emptying out, a release, a letting go, and there's a pause in our emptiness. Notice your experience of both the space of fullness and the space of emptiness. Let's continue to look for those two spaces as we move our bodies on our mats today. So go ahead and transition around to a tabletop position, taking time to put anything under your knees that feels helpful to you. And begin a slow cat and cow. You can move your spine sideways. Feel into your hips and your waist and your shoulder. Take your knees just a little bit wider, and on the inhale, pull your heart forward, draw your shoulders down your back, and then exhale back, child's pose. And let's just do that a few times, moving with breath forward and back. Give your attention to your shoulders here. Notice how your shoulders feel when your weight is on your hands. They're supporting. And then notice how your shoulders feel when you're stretching your arms overhead. Like there's an opening and a closing of that joint. Settling back into child's pose, shift your hips from side to side. Feel that hammock-like sensation as your belly just lowers between your legs and your hips move across your feet. Rising up again to tabletop position. Let's bring the knees under the hips, tucking the toes, lift into downward facing dog. And take some time here to move into this new shape. Trying your feet a little closer together, a little farther apart. Feeling your hands press into the earth and your hips lift high. Shifting forward into plank pose, we're going to drop our knees, spin the elbows, and just melt yourself to the floor, thighs, hips, belly, chest, and then chin. Roll your shoulders back, come into cobra, and exhale down, press to child's pose. And we're going to do that a couple more times. Just this half series, this low part of a salutation, forward and down, just melts. Roll your shoulders onto your back, lower and shift into child's. And do that one more time. Just an easy, no stress. We call this a vinyasa sometimes. And then tucking the toes, let's lift again into downward facing dog. We'll take a slow walk forward, coming into ragdoll. Knees bent, feet firm. Touch your fingers to your elbows and just give a gentle tug on the back of your arm so it feels like your spine is getting longer. Allow yourself to exhale loud. Pause at the top of the breath. Pause at the bottom of the breath. Let your fingertips touch the earth. Put a little bigger bend in the knees. Lengthen your spine. And if it feels better to you to have hands on thighs or shins, lengthen there. As you exhale, slide your hands around to the back of your calves, run them down and take a hold of your ankles or your heels and gently pull. Bring hands again to the feet or the floor, lengthen. And slide your hands to the backs of your legs, fold. Use your hands to gently pull down, and we'll do that one more time. Press to lengthen. And gently pull. Nod your head yes, shake your head no. And then let's put a bend in our knees, hands to the thighs, press up into chair pose. Hold here for just a moment to just notice the strength of your legs. You might even massage your quads a little bit. Just feel the strength here. Inhale your arms up, and as you do, follow your hands up into extended mountain. And then exhale back into that chair pose. Let your arms reach back. Beautiful, you guys. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And let's start to swing those arms. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And you might make an audible exhale. Do it 2 more times. And reach your arms all the way up. And slowly, as you exhale, arms melt to your sides, elbows soft. And we found ourselves standing, mountain pose. Feel your feet on the earth, your shoulders on your back. Just for a moment, notice that you are standing right in the center of your own life. You're standing in your own footprints. You're standing in your dharma. You're living in this moment, your life's purpose. Feel that and be that in this moment. We're going to use half salutations today instead of full salutations. And these will keep us on our feet. It's movement with breath. So we'll do one slow and then we'll speed it up. There are 6 moves. So inhale, lift, that's 1. Exhale, lower, hinge from the hips, that's 2. Half lift is 3. Lower again, 4. Rise up high, a little back bend is 5. And hands to heart is 6. Let's move through those half salutations like a moving meditation. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, lower. Rise up. Inhale. Hands to heart. Exhale. We'll go again. Reach high. Bow low. Half lift. Exhale, bow. Rise up. Hands to heart. We'll go 2 more times. Reach high. Exhale, lower. Half lift. And lower. Big breath. Reach. Hands to heart. And this last time, exaggerate. Dramatic movements. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Rise high. Bring your hands to your heart. Pause again. Notice maybe your heart is beating a little more now. Bring your hands to your hips and hinge forward into a fold. So the body should be a little bit warmer. Let's keep the right foot where it is and step the left foot back, finding low lunge. That hip flexor is probably a little tight. That's how they live. So to loosen up the hips today, we're going to stay on those back toes, but just straighten and bend the front knee a few times. And noticing what you feel in both the bent leg and the leg as it straightens. And as we lower, begin to just tap the back knee to the floor and then bring it right back up. Coming to our low lunge, let's plant the left hand on the ground, circle the right arm up, come into a twist. And in this twist, the hand reaches back, the heart opens, the belly breathes. Notice the fullness of breath, the pause, Empty the breath and pause. Releasing the hand down to the earth. Sweep both arms up high, nice and slow. Take a deep breath in. Hook your thumbs, reaching backwards, and feel this hip flexor, this tall spine. Little balance. Good. See how it feels to push your heart forward, to squeeze your shoulder blades back, to breathe a little deeper. And separate your hands. Reach forward as far as you can. Place your torso right on top of that right leg. And then with fingertips coming to the floor, launch your back foot off the ground. Come into a 3-point balance. Breathe here. And then bending that back knee, step it next to the right. Come into your forward fold. And before wiggling around too much, just notice right leg and left leg. Just notice the difference. One leg might feel longer, heavier, lighter. Keeping your left foot where it is, let's step that right foot back into low lunge. We'll do the exact same thing on this second side. Take a deep breath in, maybe deepen this lunge. And then begin that movement of shifting to a straight leg and a bent knee. If you're feeling these poses and you want to make some noise, breathe loud, you're welcome to. Just let your body sigh. Begin to let that back knee just graze the floor and then come back up. This is gentle movement, this asking our body rather than forcing or telling our body. And then finding lunge, let's move into our twist. The right hand is down, and it's a good idea if you'd like to put your hand on a block. You can open up into a twist. The arm reaches back. Your gaze can be down at the floor sideways or up at the hand. And it might even feel good to rotate your neck up and down, just a little easy movement of the spine, the cervical spine. Maybe reach the hand back a bit, open through the chest. Lowering that hand to the ground. Sweep the arms up high. Find your balance here in high lunge. And as you go to hook your thumbs, find the opposite or the awkward way to hook your thumbs. There's going to be a way that feels natural and a way that doesn't. Press your heart forward. Let your arms fall back a bit. Lengthen. And then release your hands. Start to guide your torso over your left leg. Reach forward, and when you can, launch forward and come into this tripod balance. Find that easy breath with pause at the top, pause at the bottom. And slowly lower the leg to the earth And without a lot of wiggling, just pay attention to the difference, right and left. Do they feel more symmetrical now? With your hands on the mat, step your feet back, downward facing dog. You have the option now to stay here or take a vinyasa. That can happen on your knees or toes. Fair warning, on Wednesday, we're going to do a whole bunch of yogi push-ups. Somebody's having a birthday this week, so we'll take it easy on the push-ups today. Let's move up into downward facing dog. And on the in-breath, raise your right leg high. Bend the knee, open up through the hips and circle the ankle. And then squaring the hips, draw that foot forward. You can use your hand to help you. We'll drop the back heel and rise up into warrior one. We're going to do flowing warrior today. So let your arms continue in this wide arc, coming down again over that left leg and circling up around. Just do a few of those nice big circles. The next time the arms come up into warrior one, let them open out into warrior two. We're going to take a wider stance here. Take a few kind of bends in that right knee until you feel the place where you can settle. Looking over the right hand, drop your shoulders, energize your fingers, and set your drishti, your gaze, on the top of that right hand. So in this story in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is a warrior. And he stands at the middle of a battlefield with cousins on one side and brothers on the other. And he's torn. He can't figure out why his dharma has called him to such a difficult choice. Why he has to fight. Why he has to choose. And so he learns to just be still and breathe and trust. Turn the right palm. Reverse the warrior. Take a nice deep breath into the side of your body. On this battlefield, he finds humility. He finds that the best way to be a warrior is to be a humble warrior. Come back to warrior two. Sweep the arms up to warrior one, and let's take that pose, the pose of the humble warrior. Arms behind, interlace the fingers, expand. And once again, dive forward, and then slightly inside the right leg. Knuckles to the sky. So Arjuna represents our soul, our high self, and this eternal question. What's my dharma? Why am I called here? Why do I have to do this? And we find this place of humility that allows us to stand on our feet and be who we are. Inhale the arms high. Take one more big circle around with your arms. Feel your body. Hands to mat. Down dog. Vinyasa if you like. Maybe take it easy, that melting version of vinyasa. Maybe it's on your toes, you choose. On the next inhale, raise your left leg high, bend the knee, open the hip, and circle the ankle. Extend that leg. Shifting through, we'll set the left foot at the top of the mat. Drop your back heel and let's make those circles again. Inhale, rise. Arms circle around and down. Can you hear the sound of your breath, your Ujjayi breath? The next time we come up, open the arms out into Warrior Two. And in Warrior Two, bend and straighten your front leg a few times. Find your place. And then coming into Warrior Two, shift your eyes to the top of your left hand. Create a soft gaze, but an intense focus. Coming back to the intention or the inspiration for this practice. Giving that person our focus, our gratitude, acknowledging who we are because of them. Turn the left palm, reverse the warrior, and just take up some space, breathe some breath here. This pose of just exposing ourselves, inviting vulnerability. As we come back to Warrior Two, we'll find that humble warrior. So sweeping the arms up, take your train tracks stance, feet a little wider, and then back with the hands open. And slowly dive over, or maybe even inside that right leg, dropping the head, lifting the knuckles. See if you can feel your footing, feel your footsteps, your grounding. Strong legs holding you here. And bowing with humility. Feel the top of the breath. Feel the bottom of the breath. Releasing the hands to the earth. Come up and circle one more time around. And as your fingers come to the floor, walk your hands to the wide edge of your mat. Come out into this Prasarita Padottanasana. Lengthen through the crown of your head. And here with a flat back, lift your sitting bones. You're welcome to bend your knees. You're welcome to bring your hands up onto a block. But lift and lengthen through both your chest and your tailbone. And let's find a twist here. Left hand in the middle, open up toward the right side. Fingers to the ceiling. See if you can feel one place in your body that feels a little different. A new sensation. Release and switch. Right hand right underneath your face, left arm lifts. And come back to the center. Lengthen with a flat back, and on your exhale, fold yourself forward. Shake through the neck. Reach around and grab a hold of your ankles. Bend the knees a little bit and pull your head just slightly closer to the earth. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's just do that again. Bring the hands forward, lift and lengthen. Take a huge breath in. Exhale, fold. Reach back, grab the ankles, take a deep breath in. Bend the elbows and slightly pull. Come up to that flat back once again. Let's walk our hands toward the right foot. Step the back foot in just a little bit closer for pyramid pose. Lengthen through the crown and then slowly fold over your right leg. Forehead to the shin. Take a few deep breaths here. That right hamstring lengthen. Lift to a flat back. Walk your hands again to the wide edge of the mat. Pull through a flat back. Exhale, lower your head down. Grab the ankles and pull even deeper this time. And just see right leg, left leg. See if you notice the slight difference. And flat back will go to the left. Same thing, pyramid pose. Back foot steps in and find that nice long spine. Fold over your left leg. Feel the left hamstring lengthening. The forehead reaches toward the left leg. And lifting up to flat back, come back to center one more time. Lift and lengthen. Come into a little bit more like cow with your back. Exhale, lower your head toward the earth. Grab the ankles. Last time, exhale to pull. This is a gentle pull. We're not forcing. If your legs are shaking, bend your knees a little bit more. Breathe out. And then return the hands to the earth, flat back. We'll go ahead and bring ourselves into a kneeling lunge. Sweeping the right leg back, come into tabletop, and then just lower your belly down onto the earth. We're going to do a little back bending here, a little back strengthening. So go ahead and bring your forearms to the earth. Come into Sphinx pose. The tailbone tucks slightly between the legs. The toes are pointing back. We're going to kind of dig or grip our fingers, our palms into the mat and pull ourselves forward. So it feels like the elbows are sliding back and the belly is sliding forward. And in this pose, you're feeling the strength of your back. Our back can represent our past and our strength everywhere we've been up until now. Everyone we've known, every experience we've had in our back behind us. And in this pose, we're reminded that our past is our strength. It holds us up. It brought us here. Deep breath in. As you exhale, let one of your cheeks fall to the earth or your hands and just wiggle out your hips. And raising your head, let your arms come down to your sides. And we'll lift up into locust. So I'm going to give you some options here. Option 1, and go ahead and come with me. Just lift through the spine. Let your arms come off the ground. Turn your palms down. You can stay right there. Option 2, float your feet off the ground. And final option, interlace your fingers, open your chest a bit more. Again, just feeling into the strength that lies behind you. Everything that brought you here. As you release, take your other cheek to the floor or your hands and wiggle out your hips. Let yourself sigh. And then with hands by shoulders, let's bring ourselves back to tabletop position. Inhale into cow, one more back bend. And now exhale, slowly come into cat. And hold this pose, tailbone tucked, come up onto your fingertips. Open your shoulder blades even more, round your back. Breathe into the back of your body. And then release, hands to the ground, sweep your legs around, and find a seat. Sit with your legs straight out in front of you in Dandasana. We're going to clear the flesh. And then with your hands at your sides, roll your shoulders up, back, and down, heart forward, belly firm. Pull your toes back as far as you can. Maybe even your heels leave the earth. Just press your calves into the earth. This is a very active pose. It's core strengthening, but it's also hamstring stretching. When we contract the front of the legs, the back of the legs automatically relax. And then release your heels to the floor. Shake your legs a little bit. Bring your right knee in toward you. And we're going to take a hold of the right big toe. It's going to be our let's call this our fun pose of the day. We get a hold of our right big toe. You can use your left hand behind you to support you. And we're just going to lift this right leg here in the seated position. A little more active hamstring stretch. You can bend that extended leg if that makes you feel a little more stable here. And once again, pull the toes back, flex the foot, lengthen the spine. And just feel what's happening there in the back of that right leg. This knee can be bent if that's a better idea. Okay, so it gets more fun. The left hand comes to the outside of the foot, and we're going to twist. We're going to open ourselves out into a twist. So this knee can be bent. You can actually even be holding onto the knee. You should feel a little bit of something in this outer leg and a lot of breath. And we'll come back around, bend that knee, and take the legs out in front of us, shake them out. And we'll switch sides. So let's start in Dandasana. I want us to make sure that this torso is tall and the core is strong before we start that sequence. So pull the toes back. Feel the strength of your legs. And then relaxing your legs, reach down to find your left big toe. And you can raise that leg. Bottom leg can be straight. I actually like to bend it. That feels good, feels a little bit more stable. Breathe into what you're feeling behind the leg. And then we'll reach the opposite hand to the outside of the foot and slowly open. Finding your twist. Take deep breaths. Pausing at the top. Pausing at the bottom. We'll come back to center. Let's bend this knee. And then you can choose either butterfly, soles of the feet together, or just cross-legged. We're going to do a seated forward fold here. I'm going to choose butterfly. So for this one, you're going to want your feet out away from you a bit. And then we're just going to walk our fingers forward. Just a nice, easy, round-backed position. Each time you exhale, hug your belly in. Each time you inhale, let it expand. Just noticing this expansion and contraction, the fullness, the emptiness. And coming back to center, draw the knees in and use your legs to help you find your way down onto your back. And once you get there, just bring your legs closer to your torso and move around in any way that feels good to you. See if you can feel the back massaged on the ground, side to side. Maybe around your waist, the space where your kidneys are. Just give that a little massage. You can just continue this, or you can come into happy baby. Happy baby, you can hold on to legs, ankles, feet, even big toes. The back of your head is on the ground. Try to press your shoulder blades down. Press your hips down. Press your tailbone down. And just feel this. There's a little pressure here in the hips. Just squeezing at that hip crease. Releasing any pressure. Allow your feet to come to the earth right by your hips. And we're going to lift up into bridge pose. For today, I'm going to choose supported bridge. So I'm going to put a block under my hips. You're welcome to do the same or take a more active bridge. So lifting the hips slowly, you can find support under your hips. Or if you'd rather, lift your hips with their own strength and interlace your hands. But once you get your hips a little bit higher than your heart, that's where you get the benefit of this pose. So see if you can feel this inversion, this heart expanding pose. Just opening ourselves in the front of our body to whatever the future holds. Our past has prepared us, it brought us here. And then here we can just be open-hearted to the road ahead. And like Arjuna, we can trust that this is our dharma, where we found ourselves, this is our dharma. We're going to move up into a waterfall. So if you can keep something under your hips that feels stable, lift your legs in the air. And start by getting your shoulders comfortable, your arms comfortable. Wiggle your toes and wiggle your ankles. The goal here is to reverse circulation, to bring all that blood flow to the upper body, to the brain. So when you feel like you've got the wiggles out, just let your feet rest in the air. Close your eyes. Find the pause at the top of the breath and the pause at the bottom. In the story in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna drives a chariot, and the chariot is pulled by 5 horses. The chariot represents the body that the soul Arjuna rides in this life. And these 5 horses represent our 5 senses, that which pulls us away from our center. So with eyes closed, we have withdrawn from one of our senses. Makes it a little easier to stay in the chariot. Bend the knees. Drop your feet, remove any props, and then in a slow and deliberate way, open your body into Shavasana. And so the practice of the warrior is to restrain those horses, to restrain the senses, to not let sounds pull us away from our center. There's a temperature on our skin, to not let that be a distraction, a taste, a smell. We refuse to be pulled away. We tame the horses. We stay here in this body, in the chariot, with our awareness. And one really good way to do that is to take a deep, slow breath and notice the pause at the top of the breath. And let the breath go, noticing the pause at the bottom. Again and again and again. Take in another deep breath with pause at the top. And like air being let out of a tire, let the breath go so beautifully and slowly till you can notice the pause at the bottom. And then just begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Notice the little senses of touch, of sound, of air. And as you stretch, open your eyes and notice the sense of sight. And as you come back into your senses, go ahead and move over to one side and back to a seat. And once you find this seat, let's end the practice the way we started, with a hand over our loving heart and a hand over our strong and fiery belly, honoring our own loving strength and strong love. I'll leave you today with a poem called Love by Merrit Malloy. When I die, if you need to weep, cry for someone walking the streets beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around the others and give them what you need to give me. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your joys and multiplying your good deeds. You can love me most by letting me live in your eyes, not in your mind. And when you say a prayer for me, remember, love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Your hands together in front of your heart. As we honor those who are in us and who made us who we are, let's honor them today by giving that love away. Thanks for being here today. Namaste.